I'll be honest, YouTube world, and for those who follow my sports passion project, I was not really wanting to make a video on this. In terms of the Super Bowl, I'll be honest, I mean, as a 49er fan, I didn't like either team in the Super Bowl. I was rooting for the Meteor. But nevertheless, I still watched it because, one, the commercials are funny, and two, I think there was some very interesting takeaways from this game. And as a neutral sports channel, those interesting takeaways are worth making a video out of. What a crazy Super Bowl. Definitely not one I think any of us expected. And thank goodness I'm not one of those guys who likes to bet money on sporting events, because if I did online in, like, say, DraftKings, or if I were in Vegas placing money on a bet, 100% I would have lost all my money on this game, because that's just how crazy it was. I don't think anybody got scoreline predictions correct. I don't think anybody got the final score predictions correct. I don't think anybody who was betting money on this game won any money, because I don't think they got anything right. That's how unpredictable this game was. That's how crazy of an outcome this game was. And frankly, it gave me a lot of Super Bowl 48 vibes, I believe, versus the Seahawks and Broncos, where it was just an absolute beatdown in MetLife Stadium, where the Seahawks absolutely dominated the Broncos. I mean, I would argue that this game was actually that bad or worse than that blowout. Final score 40-22. The Eagles are your Super Bowl 59 champions. They deny the Chiefs. The Eagles deny the Chiefs of a historic three-peat. But the score understates, 40-22. The score understates how big of a just belt-to-ass beatdown this was for the Chiefs. Given most of their points were basically garbage time. It was 34-6 entering the fourth quarter, so it was a very ugly game for the Chiefs. And it makes you wonder, the Chiefs were very much the favorites. A lot of people anticipated them winning. I've even said with some of my friends who were still following it, hey, the Chiefs are one win away from essentially turning the NFL into a farmers league should they get to this three-peat. But they didn't, and not only did they not successfully three-peat, they got beaten down by this Eagles team in just every way, shape, and form, with the exception of their run game. So it makes me want to think, what went right, what went wrong, and that's what this video will be about. So this video, for those of you who are new to my channel, first I want to say welcome to my sports channel, and for those who have been following, thank you so much for tuning into my videos. This video will be about Super Bowl 59 between the Kansas City Chiefs and the Philadelphia Eagles. And in this video, I will talk about what went right and what went wrong for both teams. So starting off with the Chiefs, here's what went right for them. This is the big question. What happened? How did they lose their opportunity? How did they blunder their opportunity to three-peat? How did they get embarrassed on national TV the way they did, with 34-6 entering the fourth quarter, with most people essentially tuning out the fourth quarter because we had already felt that the Eagles had won it and it was over. The game was basically over, which it was. So for the Chiefs, who were entering as the heavy favorites, with many people picking them to win, what went right? What went wrong? Here's what went right for the Chiefs, in my opinion. One, they really did shut down the run game. Saquon Barkley was pretty quiet in the Super Bowl. He had 23 carries for 57 yards, averaging only 2.3 yards per carry. That's actually that's actually very mediocre for Saquon Barkley, given how prominent he has been for the Eagles, what a key player he is in the run game, and given that he ran for well over 100 yards on the ground in the Eagles' other three playoff games in the wild card, divisional, and the conference championship. Saquon Barkley absolutely went off and had an amazing performance in those three games. Give credit to the Chiefs. They shut down Saquon Barkley and really held the fort down in terms of stopping the Eagles' run game. And the second thing that went right for the Eagles, in my opinion, is their defense. I actually thought played much better than people may think. People are like, "What do you mean 40 points?" They gave up 40 points to this Eagles team, but in reality, I think the score doesn't do justice on how the defense actually performed, because in the first half, the Chiefs' defense really only gave up 10 to 13 points, with the rest of the Eagles' first half points coming on the two interceptions by Mahomes. The two interceptions, which arguably had to be the worst interceptions of Mahomes' career. So their defense actually wasn't playing too bad in this game, especially if you look at that first half, and for this reason, I say that the defense was the second thing that actually went right for the Chiefs. Especially in terms of stopping the run game. They made Saquon Barkley look borderline non-existent. However, their secondary, they got outplayed. Their secondary got outplayed. And the defense by the second half looked deflated and tired, given the offense was not producing, not getting first downs, and putting the burden on the defense to make stop after stop. They were gassed by midway into the third quarter, and at that point, there was just nothing more they could have done. I mean, they were already doing everything they possibly could in the first half to prevent the game from getting ugly. And then, of course, in the third quarter, it already got out of hand. This leads into what I think went wrong for the Chiefs. And I think it all comes down to the Chiefs entering this game arrogant, complacent. They entered the game arrogant. They entered the game complacent. They did not take the Eagles as seriously as they should have, in my opinion. And it came full circle go around and bit them in the ass. Because they did a great job stopping the run game. But they did not at all take the Eagles' passing game seriously. Jalen Hurts is a better quarterback than people realize. And with the Eagles having some quality receivers in A.J. Brown and Devontae Smith, the Eagles' passing game can be lethal and was in this game. Spagnuolo and the defensive coordinators were clearly not expecting such a great passing game. They clearly thought that if they, shut down Saquon Barkley, that it would seal it for the Chiefs, but it ended up being a poor game plan that denied the Chiefs of that historic three-peat they were looking for. I also think they were completely bodied in the trenches, a place where the Eagles are elite on both sides of the ball. Hurts was only sacked twice in this game, while Mahomes was sacked 6 times. Mahomes had no pass protection, and the strip sack fumble was a perfect example of that. The offensive and defensive lines for the Chiefs just did not perform well, while for the Eagles, on both ends of the trenches, their offensive and defensive lines looked really, really good. Now let's get to the third reason. The Chiefs, with their dynasty being established last year after winning Super Bowl 58 in overtime, coming in to New Orleans with the chance to win 3 in a row and the opportunity to essentially turn the NFL into a farmers league, I think the 3 Super Bowls, while a blessing for the franchise and fan base, was also what was their undoing because of how arrogant they became. Fan base, as a team, as a franchise, as a front office, in all aspects. You saw it in the interviews on social media, XYZ. A lot of these offensive players, embraced the role of we're the bad guys of the league. Like Kelsey once said, too bad, so sad, you got to fight for your right to party. They came into NOLA with a lot more confidence than compared to their last three Super Bowls. With that swagger of we're back here again, you know what's going to happen. We're back here. It's over. Just accept your fate already. It gave that kind of vibe. You didn't see that in Super Bowl 58 when they were taking on the 49ers. It sounded like they were taking them very seriously. They were giving a lot of credit to their players on how good of a season they had. They knew the 49ers were a very real team. But you didn't see I felt you didn't see as much of that in the build-up to the Super Bowl this time against the Eagles, especially given the Chiefs had already beaten them in Super Bowl 57. I think they got a little complacent because of that. Nick Wright, a Fox Sports journalist, pointed out how Mahomes' suit entering the stadium made Mahomes look, like a killer, like a psychopath, and that he loved it and that he looked like the boss, the bad guy of like a video game. And this was not just a mentality with the players and front office for this team, because I think the same can be said for Chiefs fans. I saw one post, I didn't read the account name on social media, saying, the Chiefs are now down 10 plus points, so now the Chiefs are actually going to play real football. The Chiefs lead is only going to, the Eagles lead is only going to make this, three-peat more epic for the Chiefs. Only to witness the Chiefs not adjust or get settled in the game and, play the real football, as these fans on social media were saying. The Chiefs got destroyed. It got increasingly worse and increasingly more downhill as the game progressed. Even the bandwagon, Taylor Swift Chiefs fans, I heard him here in downtown SJ. They came in like, oh my God, when the Chiefs win and the confetti comes raining down, do you think Taylor Swift, do you think her man will propose to Taylor? That would be so lit. Oh my God. But like even they had the assumption that, the Chiefs are going to win in convincing fashion. Even these bandwagon fans thought that it was, already written in stone, only to witness the house of horrors that ate the Chiefs alive. Which is, I think that's another part where things went. I think that was the biggest thing that went wrong for the Chiefs. They did not take the Eagles serious enough in their passing game, in their trenches, as a fan base, as a franchise, even as bandwagon fans. They just did not take the Eagles seriously. And I think that was arguably the biggest reason why they lost. Before we move on, that's a good question. Thinking about the Taylor Swift Chiefs fans and those bandwagon fans for the Chiefs. And I want to see what you all think in the comments. So definitely put your opinions in the comments on this. After the Chiefs just got thrashed and Kelsey didn't propose, do you think the cult following Taylor Swift Chiefs fans, do you think that disintegrates? Will it disintegrate? Will we see that same hype that we've seen the last 2 years next season? Let me know what you think, because we've seen when those who are on the bandwagon, when that's the team they're rooting for completely falls back down to earth, or they get thrashed, they're very quiet. They all of a sudden turn invisible. So let me know what you guys think. Will the same happen here with these Taylor Swift Chiefs fans? I would love to hear your thoughts on that. I think it's possible. We're going to find out. But yeah, definitely something crazy to note. But it's crazy, but it's worth noting. That's what I was looking to say. Now moving on to the Eagles. The Eagles, obviously, they were the winners in convincing fashion. Not a whole lot you can say went wrong when, at the end, you walk away with the Super Bowl win. So, for the Eagles, what went right? I think the first reason, obviously, as stated just now, The Chiefs didn't take the Eagles seriously, and which only motivated the Eagles locker room even more. It made them more motivated to win this game and to win it in convincing fashion, which they did. The second thing that the Eagles, I thought, got right was they didn't fire their head coach, Nick Sirianni. Eagles fans who are watching this, remember when you wanted the entire coaching staff sacked last year, even though you guys still made the wild card round? I said it would have been a crazy idea had they, if they did decide to fire Sirianni. I thought meritocratically, he got him to Super Bowl 57, and despite what happened last season and some of their ugly losses, they still did good enough to make it to the wild card round. I said meritocratically, they have to give Sirianni a bounce back year, a second chance. I thought he had earned it. They fired the coordinators on offense and defense, but they kept Nick Sirianni, and sure enough, he gets them a Super Bowl. This was a very, very wise decision. I'll say the same thing in terms of their coordinators. Their coordinators who they hired, I think, were also very, very good. Great football minds within the coaching staff. So, yeah, I really think that keeping Sirianni, keeping him for the continuity in their golden generation. And while firing the coordinators was definitely a surprising move, I think it did pay off for the Eagles. They took a risk and it worked. The third thing that went right for the Eagles, I think, is the Eagles' quarterback and passing game was excellent. I mean, Jalen Hurts, rightfully so, is the MVP of the Super Bowl. He had an awful interception early on, but outside of that, he had a great performance, throwing for 221 yards and 2 touchdowns, which seems average, but given the way that the game unfolded, it was very, very good. He also rushed for a touchdown. Jalen Hurts had a great Super Bowl performance. The passing game had a great performance. They came to play. They were ready for some Super Bowl caliber football. And arguably the biggest reason is that the Eagles, the biggest thing that went right for the Eagles was they won the war in the trenches. Their defensive and offensive lines were brilliant in this game. The O-line only gave up 2 sacks on Hurts, but provided him time and great protection for all but essentially those 2 sacks. And the defensive line had a monster, and I mean absolutely monster performance. 6 sacks on Mahomes. I think they gave a stat during the broadcast like that it was a Super Bowl record for the most sacks on a QB, which is crazy. The Mahomes, arguably one of the best quarterbacks of his generation, getting sacked 6 times and like tying the record apparently, or even breaking it. I'm not sure. That's definitely not something we had on our bingo cards. Milton Williams and Josh Sweat both had a monster game. They put pressure on Mahomes while keeping him in the pocket, which prevented him from using his legs and, being mobile, something Mahomes is very good at. And Mahomes looked completely out of sorts, not being able to move around, move outside the pocket, and then just facing pressure without the Eagles even blitzing. They kept a 4-man pass rush, and the Eagles did not blitz one time in that game. That's how good the defensive line for the Eagles was. So you got to give credit to the Eagles. They really, really played well, and they proved everybody wrong. They proved that, the Chiefs, they should have taken Philly more seriously. Us as fans, we should have taken them more seriously. And, they showed the world the talent they have. So congrats to the Philadelphia Eagles. They are the Super Bowl champions. And we'll see what happens next year. Hopefully my San Francisco 49ers are the ones that end up winning the Super Bowl. It'd be awesome because it's being held in Levi Stadium. So, a home Super Bowl would be incredible. But yeah, can't wait for next year. We'll see. We'll see what happens. Can the Eagles go back to back, and could they potentially make a run at a three-peat, or will someone new? Get a Super Bowl title? Will the 49ers win a home Super Bowl next season? Or will the Chiefs, will they bounce back from this demoralizing loss? And will they keep their dynasty going? We'll find out. It'll be awesome. Andres from AA Sports, leave your thoughts and opinions in the comments below. That is all for me in this one. Stay tuned for more content throughout the year. And of course, leave a like and subscribe to support my passion projects. That is all for me. Thank you so much, everybody, and I'll see you all in the next sports video.